Welcome to Cook Along. Today we're going to make onion rings and a little snack for the kiddos. I'm going to walk you step by step and we'll just go ahead and start out. Okay, so we're just hopping right in. Hi. You can see that my kitchen is somewhat of a mess. I'm going to go ahead and put away the dishes into the sink. So go ahead and make sure your counter space is clean. Grab a sponge, soapy water. Go ahead and make sure you have a good workable space for this project. Right now I'm just starting to get my sponge wet and wiping the countertops. I will sweep later, moving some things to the side. So you're going to want to go ahead and do that. You might have a favorite spray that you like to use on your countertop that's food safe. Always could just use some paper towels. And if you have already cleaned, you will not have to worry about this part. You can just kind of, maybe you can just clean something else while you're waiting, putting some dishes in the dishwasher. Okay, so now I am collecting my ingredients. I did end up cooking just one onion. Later on you'll see me grab two, but I got an onion, I got a knife. Any knife will do. Chef's knife, sharpened would be great. You can see my son kind of popping in there. Got him covered up. Got a cutting board out. Trying to think about my other supplies. So go ahead and grab things. I'm going to be posting the recipe on here, so go ahead and just grab it. It is the Better Homes Betty Crocker cookbook with a couple adjustments by me. I always kind of change up my recipes. So there's a little blip there, but I'm going to use veganaise instead of egg. I am allergic to egg, and I have a couple kids that are also allergic to egg. So just started substituting veganaise. You can get it at any store. Here I'm grabbing a bowl, put my batter in. Doesn't matter what type. I'm getting a 1/3 cup measurement out. And then it looks like I'm seeing what other type of measuring cup to get. For this recipe, I did only use one onion, so I did not use as much as the recipe called for. A little faster that way. There's some milk. I used whole milk for this recipe. And I don't know if you've ever tried this Costco Spice Island garlic, salt, herb mixture, but it's amazing. We put it on everything. And just some Himalayan salt too. So go ahead and grab these things out while I'm kind of walking you through. I also got some black pepper out, so while you're grabbing your salt, go ahead and grab your pepper. So if you don't have the seasoning salt, you can use anything. You can use garlic powder, garlic granules, onion granules, basil. I mean, any herb that you think would taste yummy, especially onion and garlic powder though. I thought I was going to do another onion here so you can see me hopeful thinking, wishful thinking. So go ahead and grab your bowl. We're going to start with the flour. I did forget a couple ingredients as I was filming this, and that's pretty normal for any regular cook in the house. So I went and grabbed flour. I have a big bucket that I use. I just do Costco flour, and then I dump it into the bucket, as we make a lot of things from scratch here. So I realize I do not have the right measuring cup for the flour, and I cut it in half. So I did about, instead of 3/4 cup flour, I did about a 1/2 cup, and then a teeny bit more, about 1/4 of a 1/2 cup. And it doesn't have to be exact. That's the awesome thing about this recipe. This is the first time I made this, by the way, so we have some fun experiences coming our way. So I'm opening the veganaise. Go ahead and open this. If you have an egg, if you're lucky enough to, go ahead and just crack it right into the bowl. If you're using Vegenaise or an egg substitute, you're going to want to do a huge heaping tablespoon, maybe 2, just enough to recreate maybe an egg yolk, a little bit of the egg. Vegenaise is awesome because it has that protein, and it'll help bind that. It also has a little oil as well. Okay, so now go ahead and get your spices. When I do batter, usually spices get lost in the mix, so don't be scared to do a decent amount of spice. See there, I did about a teaspoon, and I'm just going to keep going for it. I do about another teaspoon. You could even probably go for another one if you wanted to. Now go ahead and grab your salt. I did about a teaspoon-ish. I think I did a little more. Yeah, about a teaspoon. And go ahead and add your black pepper. I forgot this while I was making it, so you can go ahead and add yours right now. You can add about half teaspoon. Doesn't really matter the order you put it in. Now I'm getting the milk out, so go ahead, grab your milk, grab your measuring cup. I did a little more than I thought. I did about a 1/3 cup, but like I said, I'm kind of doing less of everything on this recipe, so you're not going to have, you're going to kind of look at the end consistency, and that's all that matters. So start out less because you can never take it away. So I did about 1/3 cup to my flour, and just as so you know, everybody's flour is different. I also forgot to tell you to grab the oil. So really quick, pause, grab your oil. Once you put your milk in there, grab your oil. You're going to want to do about a tablespoon. You can eyeball it, or you can use measuring cup, or just a regular big, spoon from your kitchen drawer is what I usually do. And then I use it to mix it as well. So here I am just mixing away, trying to look at the consistency. It's like a thick pancake batter at this point, so I kind of know that once I get the flour and everything worked in, I'm going to want to water down the consistency with a little more milk, just because I'm kind of eyeballing this situation here. So your flour might be a little finer. It might absorb more. It depends on the humidity of where you live. It's hard if you're not weighing it. So go ahead and just kind of watch the video. I am adding more because my consistency was not kind of falling off the spoon. It was a little too thick for me. And you can just keep whisking away. But I really do love Costco flour. In our area, we get an organic flour from Montana. It has a little, I think Marley, not Marley, oh my gosh, malt. Oh my gosh, I'm very tired. I have 4 children. And here I am adding a little more milk. I'm just adding a couple tablespoons at a time and stirring it in till I get that consistency I want. But it's really good flour. Any kind of flour will do. All purpose is great. You don't want to use pastry flour. You don't want to use bread flour. I find that just all purpose for this works really nice. So now you can see as I pull up my spoon, it's starting to kind of pull down and off the spoon a little bit. It says mix till just smooth, but I mixed it a ton and I thought it turned out great. So I'm trying to show you here the consistency. Keep mixing away. If you have your consistency that you want and you think it is, shouldn't be liquid, shouldn't be milky, it should almost be like a pudding consistency. And I'm just still mixing it. You might have already reached your consistency. Now, if you have the opposite problem and you're like, oh my gosh, I put way too much milk in, I did a little extra and it splooshed and now I'm in trouble, go ahead and just add a little more flour back in until the ratio balances. If you do a lot of extra flour, you might want to add a little more seasoning. There we go. It's sliding off. It's perfect. Nice and blended, not too lumpy. It's looking good. I hope yours is too. Here's kind of a different angle. Okay, nice and calm. Okay, so we're all done with that, nice last little stir. And I'm gonna put away my ingredients. I like to kind of put away as I go. So I'm putting away my seasonings. So here I am. This is me forgetting the black pepper. So for anyone that forgot their spices, this is your moment to remember. So I'm going to add those spices. I love that cooking can just kind of be like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. I used to be really focused on that, but as I've gotten older and cooked for my family, I've let it go. So go ahead and grab your onion. If you're doing 1, 2, however many, chop the ends off. You can kind of put your knife down and pull that onion peel with it if it comes. I like to kind of not cut all the way through so I can peel some of that. I'm putting it into a little bowl that I use for all my scraps or compost. So if you have a compost thing, put it in. If you don't, throw it in the trash or put it in a bowl that you can throw in the trash later. We have a big garden, so I like to compost all my scraps. And if I'm not even putting them all in there at the moment, I'm just kind of throwing them to the side. So I'm just taking more of the peel off, and sometimes it's a little bit stubborn. So go ahead and just get the peel off any method that you prefer. If you have a smaller onion than you see here, you might want to do 2 small onions. This was kind of a biggerish to medium size onion, just a regular yellow onion, but you probably could do any type of onion, white, Walla Walla, any other ones that you have at the store. Just getting my compost bowl. I have a lot of other things in there. So take your onion, now that it's all ready, hopefully at this point, and you're going to just cut down from the end. Make sure your knife is vertical with the flat end that matches kind of how you cut the ends off. You do not want to cut it vertically. You want to cut it horizontally. Otherwise, you'll get like half rings, which is fine. You could do that, but I wanted to try to do the actual rings of the onion rings here. So then once you do your first slice, the tops are kind of tricky. They kind of have a little piece and they'll probably break, and that's okay. You can still cook them up. There are some pieces that are really attached, so I just went ahead and put those to the side. And then you can change the width that you want. I did about, I want to say like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of a slice. They weren't perfectly uniform, and that's fine. I just kind of started collecting them on my cutting board. You could also get an extra plate out real quick if you don't have a lot of room. Once I got halfway, I cut from the other direction. This is just easier that way. So from the other end going in. And I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting this bigger piece out, but just kind of be gentle with it. Or if you just want to kind of break it, that's fine too. Especially if it's just going to be eaten by kiddos. I don't think they really mind. It might be easier for them to eat it that way. So now I have pretty much all my onions. I'm just getting the last piece off here. So you might be kind of following along. You might be past this point. You might be getting caught up. There are some weird pieces, but they're going to work just great. So go ahead and keep all of them except for maybe the end pieces. You can also put those in a bag and use them for another recipe. I decided just one onion for now with my kiddos. So now grab your bowl of batter once you've done chopping the onions. And come along with me. I guess you're in your own kitchen though. So go ahead and just grab a pot of some kind. It can be stainless steel, it can be cast iron. I like to use kind of a skillet that's raised a couple inches up. a decently big one because I wanted to I didn't want to have to do a ton of batches. It uses a little more oil to fill it up, but I did not want to have to deal with that. I have a lot of kids and I don't have a lot of time. And here's me forgetting to rearrange. Make sure you rearrange your pots back into the drawer so that they all fit and it can close properly. Like, I do stack a lot of pots and pans. So following along with me, I am getting some frying oil out. I use avocado oil today, which is a little bougie, but you can use a lot of different ones. You could also use palm shortening oil, canola, although I don't usually recommend that. You could do seed oils, but I like to try to avoid those if possible. So I'm just putting my burner on to get my pan nice and hot. I'm getting ready to fry everything up. Now I have a gas range, so it is gonna cook and warm up pretty fast. So you might be kind of waiting for your electric to heat up a little bit. I am pouring my oil in pretty quick after just because it does heat up, and I'm only putting about 1/4 an inch in because I didn't want to waste too much. Oh, so expensive. I don't usually fry things just because the cost of my nicer oils. I know you can reuse them, so I will be maybe looking into that if that's possible. So while the oil's heating up to temperature, I'm not using the thermometer. I'm just going by feel. I'm just dipping in an onion, seeing if the batter sticks to it pretty well, and it does. It is coating it pretty evenly, but it's on the thicker side, so they said just dip it in with a fork. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work here. So I'm just kind of taking my spoon, kind of mixing it around. It's kind of getting everywhere, as you can see. And so, yeah, go ahead and just dip and try to see, like, does one onion work for you? Can you just dip it real easy? Is it a little more on the liquidy side, or is it pretty thick like mine? Either way, it's going to turn out okay. I'm just kind of coating any pieces that I see that were kind of missing. And I was like, wow, I have a lot of onion pieces, and this is going to take a hot minute to kind of coat this all together. So I am deciding at this point to just throw them all in. I'm just going for it. I'm going to put them all in. Why not? You only live once, right? Tossing in the onions, and I'm just going to coat them all. So if you want to do that, you can do that. You can also put your batter into a Ziploc bag, throw your onions in, and shake it. So go ahead, whatever method you want to do is just start coating your onions. You can coat them one by one and lay them out on like a cookie drying sheet, one of those, I don't even have the name for it right now, but you know what I mean, the grids, the metal grids that you can rest stuff on. Maybe put a paper towel underneath to catch any drippings. That way it'll get a little messy. But for me, I'm just going kind of quick, and I'm going to use a bowl. I'm just stirring it till I see it's all coated, kind of breaking up little pieces. And I know it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. As long as there's a little bit of batter on there, it's fine. Especially when I've been frying without egg, I have learned that you just want at least a slight coating. So here I have it finished, and the oil is still going and getting hot. I do have batter on my hands, and you might too at this point, so this is a good moment to kind of clean up any little drippings, wash your hands off. I do not like to touch anything else when I have those sticky hands. So that's what I'm doing at this moment. If you happen to look down and see I'm not in the video, I'm just washing my hands. And I am now prepping a plate to put on the finished onions. I'm working pretty fast now because I know that my oil is getting hotter. I'm going to grab a paper towel, and your oil might be hot. If you are ready to go, you can go ahead and start to place your onions into the hot oil. Remember to place them in very carefully. Get my paper towel there. And you want the oil to, at least according to the recipe, to be about 356 degrees. If you do have a thermometer and you want to specifically get it right, I'm storing my onion pieces away. I have a tendency to try to fry things before the oil is still too cold, and then it doesn't turn out right. So I'm trying to take my time. I'm putting away my mayonnaise and my milk. Not mayonnaise, I guess veganese if you want to be. You could use mayonnaise if you're an egg person. That would probably work actually for this recipe. But I'm going ahead and kind of cleaning that up. Right now I'm asking my kids what else they want for lunch, or I guess their snack. I call it snack lunch. Sometimes I like to make fun little things like this for them. Sometimes it's just easy snacks. They wanted some carrots, so I'm going to peel those in a second, but I kind of got it set up. So now I am going to get my camera all settled, and we're going to go ahead and carefully put in the onion rings. Remember, do not drop, gently place, and kind of do it at an angle, so if it does slap, it slaps towards the back of your stove. So you're going to angle it in like the tip facing you is touching, and then you gently lay it forward, so if it does splash forward, then it does go away from you. So it doesn't splatter too much, but you might want a splatter guard to put on immediately after you put these babies in. I noticed I did flip mine, and I really liked having the splatter guard there, and it was a little splattery later on. But it's nice and bubbly. You can kind of see the edge there where the bubbles are coming through. It's getting nice and bubbly. And I put enough in to kind of fill the full, I didn't stack them on top of each other. I just did one layer, kind of touching barely. At this point, I am getting my splatter guard put on to kind of keep my stove clean. And here's a view. You can see I probably could have fit one or two more in, but I didn't want the oil to get too cooled down by all of my things. It's starting to brown up real nice. And honestly, if you've put yours in and you're standing there and you're not doing anything else, you may want to get ready to flip them soon. Get out some tongs. I'm washing my hands again because, again, more batter is on my hands from grabbing it. I did not use a fork. And I decide to peel my carrots. And hindsight, I definitely probably should have been, I thought I could do this quick enough, but I remember I'm making a video to explain this to people. But if your oil seems like, going faster, you're preparing any other snacks, I would kind of limit it or be close to the stove. Do not make my mistake. So I am peeling the carrots here really fast. I probably could have gone a little faster. And I'm just taking those scraps and putting them again into my compost. So this is a good thing to pair with them, I feel like, to have something fresh with something fried. I'm heading over back to the onion rings as I know they are getting hot. So I grab my tongs, take off my splatter guard, and I'm just going to do a quick little gentle flip. I can see that they're a little bit burnt. Not too bad though. They were pretty crispy. They stayed crispy a little longer than some of the other ones, but they tasted great. So don't worry if yours turn out a little more brown. You just don't want them fully black, That's the worst. And again, I walk away, but I grab my plate, and I don't want them to be long on the other side because I know that they are going to cook way too fast. So I'm grabbing them. The oil was a little too hot, I think. Putting on the paper towel that I had prepared. So go ahead and grab your tongs if you haven't already and gently place your onion rings. Kind of let them drip a little back into the oil and place them onto your paper towel plate. Make sure you kind of stack them all around. I'm turning my heat down on the oil here just because I'm like, okay, it's pretty warm. And yes, a little too burnt, I say. I like to take the sound off because my house is usually pretty loud, so I like to narrate. I am turning my fan on at this point because I forgot to turn my hood fan on while doing frying. So don't forget that. If you forgot like that, like me, and you're a forgetful mom and you're tired, or you're just a forgetful person like I am, just go ahead and turn that fan on if you've forgotten. And I also forgot to remind you, but here we are. This is my second batch going in. And you can see there's some pieces that aren't totally perfect, and that's okay. Just kind of lay them in between. Again, I'm not using a fork, so I am getting a little batter on my hands, but I'm not scared to get messy. But you might not like the texture. You might not like the feeling of it on your fingers. So fork works great for that. or tongs. You can use another pair of tongs. I would use a different pair depending on what you were doing there. So there they go. They're frying up. So you saw a cutaway. And what happened was my fire alarm went off. So all the kids woke up. My youngest woke up, and she was screaming, and I had to get all my kids outside to make sure there wasn't a fire. I'm guessing it was that, but just in case, you never know. So you can see that there's a batch that's a little less brown. Go ahead and put your next batch in if you haven't already, and get ready to pull that out. Depends on your pot size. I don't know how big your onions were. So this is just kind of a time where we can talk about, yes, there was maybe smoke in my home. Although I've seen things, I have forgotten things on the stove. My husband's forgotten things on the stove, and it's definitely gotten way more smoky than that. Sometimes we kind of heat up the oil on our cast iron to reseal it, and that'll get some, smoke from the oil. But yeah, for some reason it set it off. Just kind of my luck here. So I'm putting in this is my last little bit. It's always been a long day when all the smoke alarms in your home go off all at once. And sometimes that just happens. My son keeps popping in with his little Maui hook. He loves Moana. We are on a Moana kick. Disney Plus all the way. And again, batter on my hands. So I'm going to wash my hands at this point. You might need to too. Maybe you're helping kids blow noses. Maybe you're just into that. You're just into something. So here are my tongs. I'm going to go ahead and flip over my onion rings. So go ahead and flip yours as well. Watch out. They do splatter sometimes upon flipping. Right here, I actually did get hit in the eye with some oil, which honestly has never happened to me before. I have fried food for a very long time, and it hit me just happened to be right there. Because of course, if the smoke alarm's got to go off, then you also need to get some oil in your eye, because that's just how the universe works sometimes. So yes, there was a little splash of oil in my eye. So you might see me pausing to go rinse that out with some cool water, because it was irritating me just a bit. Not sure if that's the correct way to treat it. If you know what happens when you get a little blip of hot oil in your eye, what to do, I figured I needed to clean it off, and there I go. And luckily, no eye damage. My eye feels great now. It was just a little moment. Maybe wear glasses when you make this. Might be beneficial, and I honestly might do that next time I fry food. I'm a little bit scarred for life here. So you're probably either on your third batch. You might still be kind of working on your second. Once your oil's hot, it goes pretty fast. You can kind of eyeball it if you've ever gotten onion rings. You don't want the batter to be too white. You don't want it to be too brown. Just try to kind of eyeball it the best you can. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let it drip. Other boys walking in the shot there. Got 3 busy boys. And they love food, and they love being busy. They always are in the kitchen looking for a morsel of something to eat, or asking me questions about when we're going to eat. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. Hashtag boy moms represent. So I'm just now getting the onion rings off. And, you might just want to stop here when you're done with the last little pieces. These are kind of the domed ones, so I'm kind of scooping hot oil into the center so that it kind of cooks the batter, and then I'm kind of pressing it down eventually to get some of that cooked in the middle, but those ones turned out pretty good too. So you can stop here if you want to stop the video, and then we'll see you at another point, and then you have some fresh onion rings. If you are continuing because you also wanted to make something else to go on the side, or for toddlers, then you can continue following along. Maybe you want a little something something to go with your onion rings. So now I am turning the oil off. I have finished all of my onion rings. If you have more onions to cook, you might want to pause it here. Whew. And here I am wiping my eye. Feeling a little flustered. My face is wet. It's been a day. Here's the final outcome of my onion rings. I am grabbing the batter bowl and I'm going to go ahead and soak that because you do not want to let that dry on there. That flour mixture is just going to turn, especially if you have egg, into just kind of a cement. So run some warm water. You can put a little soap in there if you want. Any utensils you use, go ahead and throw in that bowl. Get it soaking. Make your life a little easier when you're ready to clean up. Luckily, I have this nice faucet that you can kind of move the hose and spray it down. But any faucet will do. Okay, so now I am going to finish preparing the rest of my kind of lunch snack for my boys. I'm cutting my carrots. I peeled them and then I'm chopped the ends off. Now I'm cutting the carrot vertically. I try to find a place where it is stable. And then I'm going along and you can flip it over if you feel more comfortable. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And those make the perfect little carrot sticks. I don't like giving them a whole carrot because my youngest kiddos, they just take huge bites. And even though it's, 3 and 4 years old about, I just don't trust them with the chewing. So sometimes I do cut my carrot sticks just a little on the thinner side. And this is an amount for about, let's see, I have a 9-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old right now. So I did about 2 carrots. They were kind of on the smaller side. If I got bigger carrots, I probably would have put some on my plate too. And that one was kind of a rolly carrot, so I cut that into a little bit smaller pieces. I cut it in half and then I cut it vertically. It kind of makes little like tree stumps. I always think of it like a tree. I don't know why. So I am cutting those carrots and getting my plates ready so I can plate this up. My onion rings are cooling. These plates are discontinued and I'm so sad about it, but they're beautiful. Now I'm kind of just gauging how much my kids, I know my kids, I'm sure you know your kids too, or maybe your spouse or maybe yourself, and you're going to know how much of how you're going to plate it, what kid's going to eat the most, what person's going to eat the most, maybe depending on size or appetite. Now I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know if I'm grabbing my onion rings at this point. I forget I'm narrating this. Oh yeah, okay. I'm grabbing my onion rings. Stay with me, folks. And I'm just kind of parsing out the ones that I think my kids will eat, that are easiest to eat. Maybe they weren't the crispy-ish ones, which I will give myself. Kids are asking questions. You can see me talking. They're asking about snack. They're following me into the kitchen. And they love to bake and be in the kitchen as well. I like to encourage that usually, but I don't want them to be in the video because I don't want them to be on the internet. So I am trying to kind of keep them at bay as much as possible at this moment. But sometimes they'd be helping me do this. Not the frying part, but some of the other aspects. You can have your kids get involved. You can have them get the plates if they can reach. You can have them get napkins or paper towels out. Maybe they can grab the box of snacks. You don't have to do carrots. If you don't have carrots, you can use celery. Celery is another good one. You could get some ranch out. That'd be really yummy to dip your onion rings and your vegetables in the ranch. Here's my kids' snack box. I love this idea. I just use a box I got from Natural Grocers. I labeled it Kids Snacks, as you can see, and then I just place all of my kids' snacks in there, and then I just take out the whole box at snack time or anytime I'm kind of packing a snack. And then once it's depleted, I restock from my pantry into that box. And I find it keeps everything organized. And I don't lose snacks in the back of the cabinet. You know, the ones that you get and you're like, we're going to eat this all. And then you put it way back there, things get pushed in, and then you find it like 3 years later and it's expired. And you're like, oh, Well, good thing we ate that. So this way, nothing goes to waste, and times are tough, so don't waste food and make yourself a little organizational snack box. Honestly, wish I would have come up with this even on my own. So I'm putting some raisins for my oldest. He does like raisins. My youngest two do not anymore. And then I have some dried plums. Any dried fruit will do, just to add a little vitamin C. Maybe fresh fruit if you have it. But it's winter here. Nothing's really totally in season yet. So I am putting some of our dried Italian plums from our backyard. Lucky us. We are very lucky to have that. And just giving them to the kids that want them. And to myself, because I think they are delicious. You can just even do it in your oven. You don't have to have a dehydrator for those, by the way. So if you ever have a farm nearby for Italian plums during the season, it is kind of fall time. It is a great time to save those. And you can put them in your fridge for the whole winter. There was some strawberries for sale at Costco, so we did get some of those. So I'm going to use those up so they don't go bad, and I'm going to add those to their plates as well. I'm not even going to slice them. I'm just taking the tops off with my fingernails. And then I will compost the tops. So go ahead and grab any fruit that you want. Oranges, little oranges work really well. Maybe you have some cheese sticks. Maybe my kids have colds right now, so I'm trying to kind of stay away from dairy. Otherwise, I would have put those little Babel cheeses on there. Maybe some slices of cheese, because some of my kids don't like the cheese wheels, as we call them. So yep, go ahead and grab those fruits. Anything else that you might find good that you would like them to have. I also put some meat sticks, those little Archer meat sticks. You could do chomps. You could do some beef jerky if they're age appropriate and they can eat those. So let's just go up into my cabinet and I'll show you here. Put my box back, so see how easy that was? Just boom, right in the box, boom, right back. I'm not grabbing 10 bags of things, carting them over, and then putting each individual bag back. It's just very, very fast and easy, and when you have 4 kids, you just gotta be fast. And I have a 7-month-old now, so it's a little crazy. So here are my plates. Not perfect, but good for them. Yummy for lunch. And they're all ready to sit down and eat. So bye, friends. Thank you. That was a crazy cook time. It usually doesn't take that long. Here I am eating my onion ring, and it is so good. So I hope you enjoy, you guys. Okay, have a great day, and tune in for more. Bye.